So I've told you about that big global warming protest in Toronto a couple of weeks ago. It was fun asking all of those anti-oil protesters if they had cars or flew in jets, and yes, every single one of them admitted they did. But I didn't mention to you the celebrity star of that protest, Jane Fonda. She gave a quick speech at the protest, but then she actually bailed on the march part itself, telling reporters she had to run to catch a flight, which she said with no irony because, like everybody else at the protest, she has perfectly internalized the hypocrisy of living a jet-set lifestyle while pretending you're against jet fuel. Well, this wasn't Jane Fonda's first visit to Canada to condemn our oil and gas jobs. She visited Vancouver the other day, and our volunteer camera crew out in BC went to meet her. I'd like to show you a quick clip from that exchange. Here's our intrepid BC reporter, Chris, asking Jane Fonda why she has never protested against OPEC oil, especially since Jane Fonda's home country, the United States, is such a large OPEC importer of OPEC oil. Take a look.
Well, why not go to OPEC nations?
To where?
OPEC nations.
Well, right now, this is where I am. I don't know exactly what you mean by that question, but right now, the drilling is taking place on the lands here, and we have to stop it.
You're not likely to go to the OPEC nations. I mean, that's not going to do anything. This is a people campaign.
That's right.
So you're motivating people.
It's like she was shocked that he'd even dare to ask her that question. And you saw that other journalist only too happy to bail Jane Fonda out of a tough question. Well, it's not really about oil, it's about community, whatever that means. I'll tell you what that means. It means what Jane Fonda always means since her days when she posed for propaganda photographs with the North Vietnamese Communist Army. She hates the West and loves the West enemies, even though she has become one of America's richest women off the capitalist system. Here's another moment when our reporter Chris asked Fonda how she got up to Canada. Did she jet? Isn't she a hypocrite? Have a listen.
And how were you dropped off today?
In a car. Yeah.
Did you fly here?
I did, yeah.
So if all the fossil fuels are going to stay in the ground, shouldn't we start?
Well, I have an
stopping?
all-solar house. I have since the 1970s. I've had windmills, photovoltaic cells, solar panels. I drive a Prius. The fact is the technology has been around since the 1970s or earlier. And don't let anyone tell you differently.
So again, totally oblivious to the whole point, because her whole life is hypocrisy. But when Chris pressed her on it, she says, well, my house is solar powered. I don't use fossil fuels, she says, before driving to the airport where her jet awaits. She loves private jets. That's how much she loves fossil fuels. But it's not just a weak excuse, it's a lie. Jane Fonda doesn't live in a solar powered house. She lives in multiple houses. Here's her New Mexico ranch. Here's her Beverly Hills mega house. Here's her little love nest in Atlanta, Georgia. Each one of them a multi-million-dollar extravagance. Oh, but we're evil for wanting to drive or heat our homes. Jane Fonda has never protested against OPEC oil because she's not against oil. She's only against Canadian oil. And she doesn't care if she's a hypocrite. For TheRebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant.